You wake up and your paycheck is already gone before it even reaches your hands. Rent, debt, groceries, every demand pulls at your wallet. No matter how hard you work, it feels like you never move forward. And yet, you look around and see others becoming richer, almost effortlessly. Why does your pocket stay empty while their wealth keeps growing? From childhood, you were told the same story. Work hard, follow the rules, be patient. One day you'll be rewarded. But year after year, the fairy tale doesn't come true. The obedient move in circles. The loyal stay in place, and it is always those who bend the script, those who step outside the lines, who advance. It's uncomfortable to admit, but you've probably felt it yourself. You do everything right. You show up, you grind, you sacrifice. And yet, when the bills arrive, there's always less in your account than you expected. Every month, the system swallows your effort whole, while others, often less talented, less hard-working, seem to multiply their money without breaking a sweat. Something about that picture doesn't add up. Centuries ago, Niccolo Machiavelli warned that those who cling blindly to ideals end up ruled by those who act with calculation. He lived in a world of princes, armies, and shifting alliances, but his insight stretches far beyond politics. He understood something that still holds true today. Money does not flow to those who deserve it. It flows to those who dare to rewrite the rules. The harsh truth is this: wealth does not reward virtue. It follows strength. It follows design. It follows discipline. Most people don't want to hear that. They comfort themselves with the illusion that we live in a meritocracy, that talent and endless effort will eventually bloom into prosperity. But if that were reality, the brightest teachers would retire as millionaires, and the hardest laborers would never drown in debt. Reality whispers something colder. Money does not obey fairness. Money obeys structure. Think about it. The construction worker lifts bricks all day. The nurse pulls 12-hour shifts. The teacher shapes hundreds of young minds. Yet at the end of the month, their paychecks barely cover the basics. Meanwhile, someone who owns a chain of rental properties or a portfolio of investments can watch their net worth grow while they sleep. The difference isn't morality, intelligence, or effort. The difference is position. The worker is positioned to give, while the owner is positioned to receive. This is why so many remain trapped. They wait for recognition that never comes. They believe loyalty will be rewarded, even in a system that was never designed to honor it. They hope sacrifice alone will be enough, though it rarely is. And so they play a role in a play that was never written for them. They act their part faithfully, unaware that the script was designed to keep them in place. Machiavelli saw the same pattern in his own time. He watched as ordinary citizens obeyed laws and customs, believing they would be protected by their virtue. But he also saw how rulers, armed with strategy and calculation, bent those very laws to their advantage. His conclusion was brutal but honest. Power is not granted to those who deserve it, but to those who know how to seize and maintain it. Translate that into today's world, and the lesson is clear. Wealth does not drift into your hands because you worked hard. It flows to those who design channels for it to follow. But here is the beginning of change. The few who rise break free from the trance. They stop waiting. They stop hoping. They begin to build. They design systems where money does not leak away, but flows directly toward them. They stop living as characters in someone else's play and start writing their own script. This shift begins not with more effort, but with new vision. Instead of rushing, you begin to observe. Instead of reacting, you learn to study. You notice the hidden patterns beneath the surface noise. Why do some voices carry weight in a room while others fade? Why do certain businesses grow even when their products are unremarkable? Why do some people never appear desperate and somehow always remain in control? These are not accidents. They are signals of a different kind of discipline. At this point, you realize that silence is not emptiness, but presence. That patience is not weakness, but preparation. That steadiness is not dullness, but armor. These qualities do not shout, but they shape outcomes. They turn chaos into opportunity, noise into clarity, and uncertainty into advantage. Most ignore these truths because they are not glamorous. They cannot be sold on posters or reduced to quick slogans like "believe in yourself" or "just work harder." They are disciplines that require practice, restraint, and self-control. And it is precisely these disciplines that divide those who remain ordinary from those who ascend. The world, after all, is not moved by noise alone. It is moved by structure, by design, by those who step back long enough to see the whole board before making a move. Machiavelli wrote that fortune smiles on those prepared to act with calculation. Preparation is rarely loud, rarely visible, but it is always decisive. Think of the average person during a financial storm. Markets crash, panic spreads, and people rush to sell whatever they can, even at a loss. They want out, they want safety, but the disciplined few hold steady. Some even buy while prices are low, and when the storm passes, those who kept their composure are stronger, while those who panicked are weaker. This pattern repeats itself endlessly, in markets, in careers, in life. The wealth flows not to those who scream the loudest, but to those who remain steady when everyone else loses balance. And here, Machiavelli's voice returns like an echo from centuries past. He observed that people forget almost anything more easily than they forget the loss of their wealth. Money is survival, influence, and status woven together. To control it is to control direction, not only of one's own life, but of the lives orbiting around it. The one who grasps this truth is no longer merely surviving. They are shaping. From this realization follows a simple principle. Money is never neutral. In careless hands, it vanishes. In disciplined hands, it multiplies. Those who cling to illusions about fairness watch it slip away. Those who understand structure learn to harness it. The shift is not about cruelty. It is about clarity. It is about letting go of naivety, of the childlike belief that effort automatically equals reward. It is about seeing the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. And so the first stage of transformation comes into view. You recognize the trap of obedience. You see the cost of blind faith in fairness. You begin to accept that wealth is not waiting for you at the end of loyalty or sacrifice. It must be designed, structured, and pursued with discipline. Once this realization takes root, you can never fully go back. The myths lose their grip. The illusions fade. And a new question begins to form. If wealth is built not by effort alone, but by strategy, then what disciplines are needed to move from survival to control? Once the first illusion has shattered, the next challenge begins. You've realized that effort alone will not set you free. The question now becomes, if work is not enough, what qualities actually shift the balance of money in your favor? The answer is not loud. It is not glamorous. It is not the kind of advice you find on motivational posters or in hollow slogans. The answer lies in quiet disciplines: silence, patience, composure. Together they form the armor that protects you from being drained, manipulated, or steered off course. Consider silence. Most people cannot bear it. They talk to fill the air, to prove themselves, to win approval. Every word becomes a disclosure, and every disclosure a potential weakness. In business meetings, in negotiations, in conversations about money, silence unsettles people. They rush to reveal what you have not asked. They disclose urgency, fear, or limits. And once they reveal those, they can be steered. Silence is not emptiness. It is pressure. The one who controls silence controls the rhythm. Imagine a salary negotiation. The average worker blurts out what they want, afraid of losing the chance. Their desperation is obvious, their ceiling exposed. But the disciplined candidate waits. They let the employer speak first. Let them name numbers. Let them reveal priorities. In the quiet, power shifts. The one who holds silence gains ground without force, without noise. Multiply that principle across every financial decision, and you begin to see why silence saves money while noise leaks it. Now think of patience. To the impulsive, it looks like weakness. To the disciplined, it is profit. Most people rush into every opportunity, terrified of missing out. They buy when prices are high. They sell when fear sets in. They chase trends that fade before they arrive. They mistake activity for progress. But money is not earned through motion. It is earned through timing. Patience is not about waiting idly. It is about waiting deliberately. It is the art of striking only when the moment favors you. History proves this again and again. During financial crashes, the crowd panics. They sell assets at a loss just to feel safe, but the patient few see opportunity. They buy when others flee. They expand when others retreat. And when stability returns, their wealth has multiplied. They were not faster. They were not louder. They were simply patient. Precision disguised as waiting. Then there is composure. Most people broadcast their emotions without realizing it. Fear trembles in their voice. Greed sparkles in their eyes. Insecurity leaks through their posture. To the trained observer, they are transparent, easy to read, easy to predict, easy to control. But those who cultivate composure become unreadable. Their faces reveal nothing. Their decisions are deliberate. They cannot be rushed, cannot be provoked, cannot be easily swayed. In a world where emotion drives most financial choices, the one who remains steady holds the advantage. These qualities, silence, patience, composure, are not glamorous. They cannot be purchased, and they cannot be faked for long. They must be cultivated through practice, through restraint, through sacrifice. The sacrifice of impulse, the sacrifice of comfort, the sacrifice of the need to constantly react. That is why so few master them. But those who do notice a shift, conversations tilt in their favor, negotiations end on their terms. In uncertain times, their calm becomes a magnet for trust. Slowly, almost invisibly, wealth begins to gather on their side. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He observed that fortune tends to favor those who act with calculation rather than impulse. Leaders who could hold back, observe and move only when the timing was right, often outlasted those who rushed forward blindly. In the modern world, the principle remains unchanged. Money flows not to the desperate, but to the deliberate. The disciplined few outlast the frantic many. But these inner disciplines are only the foundation. Once mastered, they lead to something greater, the art of positioning, the shift from surviving on your own hours to designing systems that channel value without your constant labor. Think of the ordinary worker. He sells hours one by one, 8 today, 8 tomorrow, 8 the day after. His income is chained to his presence. When he rests, the money stops. When he is sick, the money stops. When he grows old, the money stops. No matter how disciplined he is, no matter how hard he works, his ceiling is fixed because his wealth depends only on his own effort. Now think of the employer. She hires 20 workers. Each one sells their time, and each one produces value. The employer collects the difference between what they produce and what they are paid. Her income is no longer tied to her own hours. It is multiplied through the structure she built. She earns while she sleeps, while she travels, even while she thinks of new opportunities. That difference is design, the ability to position yourself so that value flows towards you without requiring equal labor in return. Positioning appears everywhere once you learn to see it. Investors earn not because they work harder, but because they place their money where it multiplies. Landlords earn not because they lift bricks, but because tenants pay rent month after month, year after year. Brands earn not because their products are always the best, but because their names carry meaning that people pay extra for. Each of these is a channel, a structure, a design that redirects the flow of money upward. But design without story is fragile. People change their minds, shift their loyalties, and chase new trends. That is why another force matters just as much: narrative. Money does not always flow to the hardest worker or even the best product. It flows to the story people believe. Think about it. A diamond is nothing more than compressed carbon, yet it carries a price higher than most metals, not because of what it is, but because of what it represents: love, eternity, prestige. Fabric stitched into the right pattern becomes luxury, commanding thousands more than ordinary cloth. And money itself, slips of paper or numbers on a screen, is worthless on its own, yet it moves nations because we agree to believe in its value. This is the law of narrative. The ability to shape how people see, not just what they see. Those who master it do not simply sell objects, they sell meaning. And wherever belief goes, money follows. Machiavelli understood this long ago. "Everyone sees what you appear to be," he wrote, "but few know what you really are." He knew appearances shape power as much as truth does. In wealth, this does not mean deception. It means design, choosing deliberately how you are seen, rather than leaving it to chance. Look at the most powerful companies of our age: technology firms, car makers, fashion houses. Are their products always superior? Rarely. What they sell is not just a tool, not just a piece of clothing, not just a machine. They sell identity. They sell status. They sell transformation. The narrative elevates the product beyond utility into belief, and belief commands money. Now the system becomes clear. Silence protects you. Patience multiplies opportunities. Composure shields you from manipulation. Position channels value. Narrative directs the flow. Each principle strengthens the others. Together, they form not just a set of habits, but a system that bends uncertainty into opportunity and transforms opportunity into wealth. But these are not tricks to admire from afar. They are disciplines meant to be carried daily, woven into action until they become invisible, automatic, instinctive. Because wealth is not built in one grand moment. It is built in the quiet repetition of choices that compound over years. The way you speak in conversations, the way you wait in negotiations, the way you design systems instead of trading hours, the way you craft meaning around your work. Small moments, repeated endlessly, create empires. This is where identity enters. Most people live and die as prey, emotional, predictable, reactive. They sell their hours, they reveal too much, they follow stories written by others. They never question the script. They never design their own. But once you begin to practice these principles, you change. You stop playing the role handed to you. You begin writing your own script. You become an observer, a strategist, a phantom in the world of money. Picture it. While others scramble to fill silence, you watch quietly. While others rush into every opportunity, you wait for the right one. While others reveal their fears, you remain unreadable. While others spend endlessly, you build structures that capture their spending. While others follow stories, you craft the narrative they believe in. Slowly, almost invisibly, the balance shifts, until one day you realize you are no longer trapped in the cycle. You are standing above it. This is what mastery feels like: unreadable, deliberate, steady. You no longer chase wealth. You position yourself so that wealth chases you. And once you taste that freedom, you can never return to the old illusions. You can never again believe that effort alone is enough, or that fairness will one day save you. You have crossed into something higher. Machiavelli would call this the path of the prince, leading not through kindness alone, but through foresight, calculation, and inevitability. The Stoics would call it detachment, the ability to remain steady when others collapse. You may call it design, wealth shaped deliberately rather than hoped for blindly. And so the choice stands before you. Most will hear these truths and turn away. They will return to comfort, to noise, to the myths of fairness. They will keep selling their hours, keep revealing their weaknesses, keep following stories written by others. They will stay broke because they choose illusion over clarity. But you don't have to. You have already stepped outside the trance. You have already seen the mechanics beneath the surface. Now you must decide whether to return to the cycle or to keep walking this path, to let silence become your pressure, patience your timing, composure your shield, structure your foundation, narrative your magnet, to make them not ideas but identity. Because wealth is not a prize handed out for obedience. It is not the product of chance. It is a system, and systems reward those who master them. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors those who calculate, not those who wait. His words echo louder now than ever. You've stayed until the end, and that already sets you apart. Most will return to comfort, but you've chosen clarity. If these words gave you a new perspective, leave a like to show it. And if you're ready to keep moving forward, subscribe and join us. Because the journey doesn't end here. It continues with every step you take.